Hello, I'm James, and welcome back to my Star Citizen lore guide. This is part 2 of the Star Citizen timeline. If you have not seen part 1, please check the description down below. The year is 2541. Humanity is at the start of a Cold War with the xi'an Empire. While exploring Western systems, we discovered a race of creatures that called themselves the Ta'varen. The Ta'varen had control over several systems, but their technology was at least 150 years behind that of Earth. For the first time in human history, we aren't complete assholes when we meet an alien race. The suggestion from humans on the front line is that we actually bring the Ta'varen into the UPE so that we can give them access to our technology and elevate their race. Sadly, they are not interested in our technology, and they only want to take our systems. They strike first, and the First Ta'varen War begins. Although not as advanced as us, the Ta'varen are master technicians. They drag the war on for several years. It is not until the Battle of Idris IV that humanity turns the tide of battle. A young, ambitious officer by the name of Ivan Messar distinguishes himself here and quickly becomes the face of the UPE military. 5 years later, the newly promoted Commander Messar brings the Ta'varen leadership to the UPE Council. He rides the popularity of his victory to become High General. Claiming the tribunal as an outdated system and cultivating a fear of the xi'an Empire, Messar proposed the creation of a new single office with the title of Prime Citizen. Upon his election as first Prime Citizen, it isn't long until he restructures the government into a new United Empire of Earth, or UEE. He appoints himself Imperator, ushering in a new age of unprecedented expansion and colonization. Humanity continues their expansion for another 50 years with relative ease, although they are constantly on the edge about the impending invasion from the xi'an. This benefits them because in 2603 a new Ta'varen warlord named Kirov Thrall re-emerges from the corners of the cosmos with a rebuilt Ta'varen battle fleet and launched his first attack against the UEE systems. The Ta'varen's sole mission was to reclaim Khalith, their former homeworld. The Second Ta'varen War had just started. Repopulated after hiding on the fringes of the galaxy, the Ta'varen had spent the last 50 years building their forces for the sole purpose of retaking their homeworld, Khalith. While this is a cause that some humans could support, the UEE is not about to give up their territory. The battle rages on, and realizing that they can't win, the new Ta'varen warlord decided to make a final desperate push to scuttle their ships onto Khalith. If they can't live there, they will die there. The war ends in a blazing glory, and the Ta'varen are pushed to the brink of extinction. Humanity continues to live in peace for the next 70 years. Minor political anti-military protests spring up during this period, but are quickly shut down by the government. This nice age of peace is brought to an end in 2681, when a strange nomadic race called the Vanduul attack a human settlement on the outer reaches of space. This new enemy starts to use hit-and-run tactics. They never stay in one place long enough for the UEE military to arrive, and it makes tracking them extremely difficult. Over the next 100 years, the military regime reaches a plateau. The human population has been beaten into submission over political struggles. The military is stretched thin between bracing for war with the xi'an, chasing down Vandal raiders, and keeping peace on the human worlds. The Imperator's power is waning. In 2772, Anvil Aerospace is founded and hailed as one of the earliest Terran success stories. 16 years later, humanity is fed up. They are tired of this militaristic dictatorship and fear-mongering. Nathan Warwick, an advocacy section chief in the Terra system, helped facilitate Senator Akari's meetings with the xi'an to create the Akari Treaty. This diffused the tensions with the xi'an and marked the beginning of the end for the Messar era. Only one short year later, in a daring act of defiance, peace is independently brokered with the young xi'an Emperor Krei by Senator Terras Akari of Terra. Terra is upset with Earth and calls them short-sighted. 10 relatively peaceful years go by, and then, in 2792, the massacre of Garantu takes place. A small terraforming corporation started transforming an inhabited planet. The inhabitants weren't star travelers. They were just a developing race which got completely wiped out by the atmospheric processes. The company denied repeatedly that these creatures were capable of conscious thought. However, activist footage showed the aliens with irrational behavior, and it was leaked to the spectrum, and in a massive outcry from the population, it was the last straw. The people rose up and they overthrew the government. Aaron Toy of Earth becomes the new imperator and promises a new age of enlightenment and social consciousness. Only a few short years after this new government is in place, in 2795, the Fair Chance Act is ratified, decreeing that it is a capital crime to attempt to terraform planets with evolving and developing creatures. These planets are to be left alone and given a chance so that their species can advance and evolve. This new government, with the new ideas that it has, wastes no time, and only 5 years later, the UAE Ark is built. It is a repository of information and culture located in space for all races of the universe to visit freely. It is seen by some as humanity's attempt at reparations. Humanity is finally on the right path. 3/4 of a century later, humanity begins construction on a synth world. This is largely due to criticism that humanity is greedy and full of bloodlust. The UAE sets out to convert a lifeless rock into a life-sustaining planet. It is set to take decades, if not centuries, to complete. Over the next 40 years, many big names start making their way into the universe. Origin Jumpworks is founded in Germany on the old Earth. Voyager Direct, aka Space eBay, is founded in 2898, and Origin premieres their 300 series in 2899. In 2910, the Vandal have their first encounter with Squadron 42. They attacked Squadron 42 carriers, and the battle lasted over 6 hours. They seem to be growing bolder by the day. Only 48 years after the construction of the synth world started, the Empire is starting to collapse in upon itself. Disparity between rich and poor is at an all-time divide. The poor are reacting with greater and greater frustration, and the Vanduul attacks are growing more and more frequent. Lastly, we come to today. The time that you and me will enter this incredibly fleshed out universe. The year is 2945. Only 1 year ago, the first xi'an business opened its doors on a human planet. The galaxy is on the brink of collapse, and humanity has never been more divided. Can we make a difference in the time to come? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my channel for more Star Citizen content posted daily. Thanks for watching.